Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to American Defender. Are you having extraction issues with your Taurus Judge or ejection issues? When you go to fire certain types of 410 ammo out of your Taurus Judge, do you need a hammer to eject those rounds out of that cylinder? Is it very difficult to remove those spent casings? Well, if you answered yes to that, which some of you may and some of you may not, I have got a fix for you today, and I'm going to explain what is actually going on with your revolver. It's not anything Taurus did. It's nothing that's a problem with the revolver. It's actually the ammunition that you're using and that ammunition manufacturer's problem. Okay? So in my previous video on the Taurus Judge, I talked about how there's a varying difference in the thickness and the diameter of certain 410 shells. And I can kind of show you that right here. All right, so I have some Winchester Defender here, which is about 452 thousandths of an inch in diameter, which is perfect for the Judge. This is one reason why a lot of people still use this, even though that this load, we're going to find out here soon, really ain't the greatest of loads. But as far as, loading and unloading goes, it loads real easy and it unloads real easy. It's got a real smooth, highly polished hull. The crimp on the end, the roll crimp, isn't all bulging out and oversized. I mean, they really did a good job on this, and I have to say kudos to Winchester for doing that, because they're really the only one that did that. Okay. But you also got to remember that the Winchester Defender was the first ammo out on the market for the Taurus Judge. All right, this was the very first thing released, and then shortly after this was released, Federal and Remington jumped in on the game. Okay, but even the Federal and the Remington can have this problem because, well, they didn't do that with their hulls. They used their existing hull only. Let's talk about Hornady, because Hornady nowadays in 2024 is probably the most popular 410 load people are using. All right, and I've already demonstrated the efficacy of it. I mean, it's amazingly effective. If you haven't seen that yet, go watch my Taurus Judge Myths Debunked video if you can, because if you're in Russia, according to YouTube, you can't watch that particular video because, well, in the beginning of it, there is a theme that I used for music that is really close to it. It's not the same. I still got a copyright strike for it, but it's really close to the Terminator Genesis. They blocked me for that. Okay, kind of silly. I've already put a dispute in, but I don't think they're going to cooperate. All right. So either way, you can look at the efficacy of this stuff. It's very effective. On fruit, the amount of energy that comes out of this, yeah, it's pretty good. But when you go to load it, you run into this problem. It doesn't want to just fall down in there. You've got to take your thumb and literally push it down in. All right. And then one round is nothing. Okay. You put 5 of these bad daddies in there, and all of a sudden you're sitting here with a hammer fist, like, trying to beat the crap out of it and jamming it up against the walls and, the tire of your truck and all sorts. You're just sitting there poking things with it like this, trying to get this thing to start pushing those shells out of the throat, because these particular rounds are oversized. Okay, so the Winchester's at 452. These are between 457 and 460. They vary that much within the batch. Okay, so this is the problem. It's not your Judge. It's this. So how do we fix it? Do we start sanding down our cartridges? Well, you could do that if you wanted to, but then it's going to make it to where your hulls aren't loadable. It's going to weaken them, and I don't suggest it. Really, what you need to do, the correct way to go through this, and Taurus is actually doing this now on the executive model, is you need to hone your cylinder. Okay? Honing the cylinder is done by way of a product called Flex Hone. Now, you've probably heard of a flex hone in the automotive industry. We also call them a ball hone. You use one of the appropriate diameter and you run it in through the chamber here, and what it does is takes out little imperfections and things like that. Some of them of a more aggressive grit can actually really start removing material. And we don't really want to remove a bunch of material, but we want to get a more uniform, true diameter to our throat of our cylinder. We don't care about the actual chambers on this end. We don't care about that. We care about the throat here, okay? So if you decide to go that route, again, they're about $30. You can go ahead and do that. It uses a drill. You throw some oil in each little chamber, and you only got to go down about halfway on your cylinder, and you give it a few, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, motions inside that or passes inside that chamber. All right, and then you pull it out, clean it up, test fit, and then you go until you can extract 5 rounds. All right. Well, I don't have a flex hone, and like you, I started to think about this. I was like, do I really want to spend $30 on something, especially with the way the economy is right now in 2024? $30 can get me so much more. It can get me half a tank of gas, which should be giving you a full tank. But I'm not here to talk politics, but you don't know where I'm going with this. It can get you some eggs. It can get you some bread. It can go buy you a box of ammunition. It could, be part of your heating and cooling bill. It could be part of your rent. I mean, it could be stretched in so many better ways than buying a tool that you'll use exactly one time in your life on this one particular firearm. Now, if you own a business, well, then if you're a gunsmith, you already know this, and I'm preaching to the choir. But, if you're just starting off and you're trying to learn how to do this kind of stuff, that would be the correct tool to use, especially with repetitive use, is that flex hone. However, again, most of you are like me. Your money can go different and better places, and you need to stretch that dollar as far as you can. So how do you go about doing this on a budget and still get a good result? As a matter of fact, you'll get the same results, but a lot cheaper. All right? Maybe you even have some of this stuff around your house already. Well, you're going to need just a few things. One, you're going to need a can of brake clean. You're going to need an understanding of how to take your cylinder and crane and all of that off of your Judge. You're going to need to know how to do that. You're going to need a drill, an old 410 hull that's been fired, and some valve lapping compound. Now, this is Permatex Fine Grade. It's part number 80036. You can get this at O'Reilly's and Checkers, or if Checkers is still around. I've always called O'Reilly's Checkers because that's what it was, before O'Reilly took it over, or AutoZone or Napa or Pep Boys or wherever, Advanced Auto Parts, CarQuest, any automotive parts distributor will have this, okay, if they're decent. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to get this. You're going to take it and you're going to put a little bit in each chamber. Okay. Doesn't take a lot. It's literally just a little dollop. About the size of a piece of some double-aught buck. Okay. Doesn't take much. And just a little blop, blop. Each cylinder. You're going to take your 410 case. You can see here. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut the rim off of it. So I used a grinder and just ground my rim off, and then the head stamp and everything popped right off. And you can see it right there. You're going to just kind of cut that down. You want to leave some of this metal here, and we're literally going to chuck this up into our drill. Now, why are we going to do this? Because this is one of the shells I had a problem with, and that's what you want to use. is one of the shells that is a problem shell for you. So if it's like this is a federal birdshot round or a critical defense round, these two are really close to one another. As a matter of fact, I think they're the same damn hull, just different colors. That's what you want to use is this. What we're going to do is take this, put a little dab of that stuff on here, and use this as our hone, because this is actually already to that correct size that we need it to be. And here's the bonus of this. I know there's going to be some folks out there saying, well, that's plastic. You know, it's not gonna do what you want it to do. Well, in all actuality, it is going to do what you want to do. Plus, it gives you the advantage that since this is plastic, this valve lapping compound is going to cut at a slower rate, because you're also going to start cutting a little bit of material off of this shell, okay, is what you're going to do. So you can't really go too far. You'll cut through this all the way before you go oversized with that. But you're just going to stick it up in here, all right, just stick it right up in from the front here. Of course, your cylinder's off. And just back and forth. Now, don't just sit there like this, because that does nothing. You want to move it up and down, and you want to move it at a decent speed, you know, just about like I am right here, all right? Just up and down, and count, you know, 10, 12, maybe 15 oscillations, and then clean it out. Wipe it all down, run some patches through it if you want, and go ahead and test fit. There's two ways of test fitting this. Number one, what you want to check, you want to take this shell that you were having a problem with, one that wasn't used, as your hone that you just made. You want to take this and you want to put it up front here, and you're going to use this as a gauge pin, and you want to run it in there. Now it should be tight going in, and it should take a little bit of effort going in. Okay, just a little bit. If you have to sit there and push it in there, then you know that's not right. But you should just be able to, you know, push it in, pull it out. It should feel a little tight. It should feel a touch snug. Okay, a little bit snug, like half a nugga dugga. Okay, so you just stick it in there like that, and if it goes, then that probably means you're okay. Now you can do this from the factory anyway. All right, so I would suggest feeling it, since you know you're having problems with this. Feel it before you do any of this. Run one of these rounds through here in the throat, and just feel it, what it feels like. Okay. Then the other thing you can do is just put it in here, push it in, and then see if you can kind of reach down in here. Of course, your ejector will be out, but just kind of reach down in here. Now, I don't really have much for fingernails. See if I got any on this hand that I can use. And we want to try to get up under this rim and see if we can lift it with our fingernail, or I guess you could use a screwdriver. Okay. Or the other option you've got, which is pretty obvious, you know, just take a few of them. Of course, this is after you've cleaned everything. Just take a few of them, load up a full cylinder, just as I am here, okay, and pop them down in there, and then try to extract those rounds, okay, and push with your thumb, and you should be able to just push it out with your thumb. Once you're able to do that, you stop. Okay, that's it. Just stop right there. You're done. Okay. You don't want these to just fall out. All right. You want them to have some resistance because they are oversized. All right. But as you can see right there, they'll fall right out now, and that's all you got to do. Now, if you don't have this problem on your Taurus Judge, then you do not need to do this, okay? And this doesn't just apply to the Taurus Judge, okay? Honing a cylinder on a revolver is a pretty universal thing. It's a well-known thing. And a lot of revolvers need it, okay? A lot of revolvers need it to happen. The Judge is one of those revolvers that every now and again needs it. But it's not because the the judge was made wrong, it's because, well, certain ammo manufacturers, they say they're making these for the handguns, but they're still using a long gun standard 410 hull, not the specialty hull like Winchester uses. So if you don't want to do this and your stuff's getting sticky, well then just stick with the Winchester. Okay, you kind of limit yourself with ammo doing that, but hey, if that makes you sleep better at night, then go for it. All right, you're not going to hurt your gun doing it as long as you follow what I say here. But then again, at the same point in time, let me reiterate something. Here comes the disclaimer portion. I'm not telling you to go do this. This is done for educational and entertainment purposes only. I'm just talking about gunsmithing here, basically, or being a home armorer, and using a method that I discovered to alleviate an issue that I had with my Taurus Judge. If you do decide to go forward with this and you destroy your gun, you hurt yourself or someone else, I am not liable because I never told you to go do this. Okay? So with that, that is how I went about doing it, and that is how one would go about making their own hone at home for a one-time use. Okay, a disposable hone, if you will. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit like. I'm always, interested in little tricks like this, and I like to share my little tricks and tips that I've learned over the years with you fine folks out there to keep them alive and save you some money and, well, just make shooting a more enjoyable sport for you. Please take a kid fishing. Please take a kid shooting. God bless you, and God bless America, and I will see you on the flip. Bye now.